Today we're going to be doing some graphing that may be a little bit different than what you've done before. So we're going to be graphing on a 4-quadrant grid. And just a few things that you need to know about these quadrants. First of all, they're numbered and they go in a C. If you think about the numbering, they make a C. So like if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, you might remember that C. If you're a Cincinnati fan, maybe that helps you with the C. Or maybe you remember it's counterclockwise, but it goes in a C. And so this first quadrant is labeled 1, and they're usually labeled with Roman numerals. And when we're graphing numbers, if we have two positive numbers, a positive number followed by a positive number, that will end up in this first quadrant. And then, as you might imagine, this one is labeled 2. And for this one, we would have a negative number first. The negatives go to the left and down, and the positives go to the right and up. So this one would be first a negative number followed by a positive number. That would land us in quadrant 2. Then we move down here to quadrant 3. And this one would be a negative followed by a negative. So this would be two negative numbers would land you somewhere in quadrant 3. And then finally quadrant 4. And to land in quadrant 4, you would first do a positive number and then you would do a negative number. So it would be positive, negative. Now sometimes you might wind up that you land on one of the axes, and this axis is called our x-axis. The right to left or horizontal axis is our x-axis. And the vertical, the up and down axis, is our y-axis. These axes would have a 0 in them. You would have, for the x-axis, you would have a number followed by a 0. So this will be some number followed by a 0. And then to wind up on the y-axis, you would have a 0 first followed by some number. You would land on the y-axis that way. Okay, so you're always going to the first number in your ordered pair, which is just two numbers inside these parentheses, those are an ordered pair. You're always going to move right to left first, or horizontally first. And then second, with the second number, you'll move up and down. So if you've played Battleship before, you're kind of familiar with this idea, except that they use letters and numbers. All right, so the graph that you're going to make today is going to be a Valentine graph. And when you see these separate zones, like zone A, you're going to graph those points and connect them as you go along until you get to the end of zone A. Then you'll start a new section with zone B, and you'll connect all of these points until you get to C, and you'll start a new section with zone C, and so on. So zone A all gets connected, then you stop connecting and start afresh with zone B. These get connected, and then you go on to zone C after that. So I'll do a few of them for you. So our very first one is 1.510. So remember, we always go right to left first. So here's my 1, but this is 1.5, so that's halfway between 1 and 2, and then we go up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 1.510. And my next point is 111. So over 1 and up 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I connect those 2 points because they're both in zone A. I keep connecting in zone A until I get to zone B, and then I start a new connection pattern. Then my next one is 012. So remember, that's one that is going to land on the y-axis. So we don't go right or left at all. We always start at the origin. This spot right here is called our origin. That's where we always start. So we don't go right or left at all. We stay at 0, right or left, and then we go up 12 is point 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right there. And then we connect those 2 points. And you keep going in this manner until you get your picture finished. So you've got your Be Mine Valentine to finish up, and let me know if you have any questions.